So from one sort of Marvel-ish shit show to another Marvel shit show. I did a report on this, but let's talk about it.
Boy.
Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige is reportedly changing his approach to hiring directors, as if that's going to make a difference.
Yeah,
for goodness sake.
The directors is not the problem.
It's not the problem at all. I mean, this is such garbage nonsense. So this comes to us from Jeff Snyder on the Hot Mic podcast. He's been pretty good with his scoops.
You've been nailing it lately. Yeah.
So Feige's plan is to adjust his hiring strategy by turning to already established filmmakers and creatives. Feige does want to hire more established talent behind the camera, suggesting the idea is to put future movies in the hands of more experienced directors. One, just as an FYI, that is inadvertently a backhanded statement to the people you do have working for you by saying that they're inexperienced and they're shit.
Yeah, they suck. These are literally they suck.
That is literally what you're saying already, which is terrible. It's an indictment of your own hiring practices. But secondly, this is not going to fix it. This is not going to change anything because the structures in place surrounding it, like Victoria Alonso was not the reason Marvel's CGI was bad, right?
Not the reason, but she didn't help.
Yeah, I was going to say
no, but she wasn't the reason it was bad because it was bad before she took the role of president of CGI and visual effects, right? They've been shit for ages. Yeah, they were. They were shit since fucking Endgame. Absolute garbage. Hulkbuster. I say it every single time. Absolute wank. Yes. Did it potentially get worse under her? Yeah, maybe. But is she the root cause? No. Are the directors the root cause of the issue? No. You know, you can't sit there and blame the directors because inherently the structure of a Marvel film is such that they've been on a massive decline for ages. I mean, you've got like the Marvels is the perfect example of everything that's going bad with Marvel and the MCU. You got this garbage shit humor, right? You got Rick and Morty writers, literally hiring Rick and Morty writers to deliver this wank-stained humor, this utter garbage crap travesty. You've got, you know, unlikable characters being pushed to the forefront. They've already told us that that's what they're looking to do moving forwards more and more. A director's not going to change that. Director doesn't have the power to do any of that. Nope. Not only this, the most hilarious part of this entire report is the fact that Marvel thinks good established directors are going to want to work for them, knowing full well what Marvel does as a structured business to its directors.
Yep.
Can I say without disagreeing with a single thing you just said?
Yeah.
I think what Feige is trying to say or do is get back to formula, to steal a quote from the Green
previous
Goblin.
formula then.
Yeah, because if you think about it, what was Marvel Universe built on? You had Jon Favreau, you had Joe Johnston, you had what's his face who directed Kenneth Branagh, like all, and then you had even though he's not, you know, kind of persona non grata, Whedon directing the first Avengers film. So that first batch of films was handled by established talent.
Yeah, right? True.
And what they've done is they've pushed all the established talent to the side to get more malleable talent.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. They weren't that established talent weren't saddled with terrible characters, right?
Yeah.
And they weren't saddled with filmmaking by committee.
Yeah.
And I mean, and again, it comes down to what you know Nate was saying. Their internal structure is antithetical to successful filmmaking at this point in time.
And honestly, I think it's in Feige's best interest not to be basically being a fucking sorry, pardon my French, but satellite parent or whatever it's called over the entire production, nitpicking on every little thing, micromanaging every little thing. Because guess what? You can get a good product out of a decent director. That's, I think, what they're missing here.
Well, that's another part of the report, right? Is that they say this. So, however, this lines up what Deadline's Justin Kroll said last year about the hunt for Fantastic Four's Helmer. Kevin Feige doesn't want to oversee the entire shoot. And after not having to worry about that with Sam Raimi, he's very game for the same outcome with this shoot, and that's why he hired Matt Shackman to direct Fantastic Four, who is a trusted talent because he did WandaVision. Now, there's a few things to say there. WandaVision was a success for Disney because it was the first Marvel Disney Plus series.
Yeah.
That's it. Everything else was a steep decline from there because people realized what they were getting.
Yeah.
Secondly, they referenced Sam Raimi as the reason why. I mean, Doctor Strange film
that was work for
terrible.
hire under Raimi.
That was terrible. That was a terrible fucking
I don't
film.
blame Raimi though. He just shot what they told him to shoot. Let's be real.
Exactly. And they only. I mean, what are you trying to sell it on his name? Is that what they're going to do now? They're going to sell the movies on the name of the director. They're going to be like, look, can we just pay you a little bit more just to use your name, but just follow the formula? Maybe that's what they're going to do.
I don't know. I don't think, and look, that's not. There's no upside there. The Russo brothers walked away from this. The
Russo brothers are saying, yeah, we'll work for DC if you want. If you pay us, we'll work for DC. So they're more than happy just to fuck Marvel.
Yeah, but they said they were not going to go back to Marvel. I mean,
exactly. That's what I mean.
Well, I think they kind of blew the lid off of a lot of that. They basically were the ones who kind of let us know what was going on there.
I have, like I said, I have little faith that this will change anything, because yes, you're no longer casting directors, but you're still saddling these experienced people with these unlikable, unlovable, uncared for.
Why do you think James Gunn is almost kind of subtly, basically celebrating he's finally getting the fuck out of there?
Well, we have
in a weird way.
Yeah. We have a story. We have a story, I think, to cover on that, don't we, Nate?
We do, but it's not so. Absolutely, we do, and we'll get
I apologize for my language today, by the way.
No, it's all right. It's. I will say this as well, right? Like, is that the whole? It's fascinating that people run with this as a story as if it's positive, because the director doesn't mean anything. You've still got shit writers writing a shit story, writing a shit movie, handing in terrible scripts to people to work with. You know, you can't polish a turd, or you can only polish a turd so much. A good director cannot turn a terrible script into a great film. They just can't. And so, you know, Kevin Feige being like, well, we're trying to get some good directors. It's like, so what about all the writing teams that you've got that you pay peanuts for? You know, what are you going to do about them? Are you overhauling them?
I think there's two other sides of that, because yes, a good director can turn a shit script into a decent film, but they have to be a very talented fucking director. And they usually have to be a very talented, not just director, but writer as well. And then the other side of that, though, a good director can also fuck up a decent script too, though.
But the director the director has to work for a studio that would allow them to change the script.
That's
the key. Do that.
Yep, that's what I was just going to say.
And I think what's his face, who was supposed to do Ant-Man originally, was ground zero for this.
Well, the guy
his name.
Oh, you're talking about fucking.
You know who I mean?
God. Yeah,
because he was supposed to direct Ant-Man, and he ended up backing him, and they still used part of his story. Edgar Wright.
Edgar Wright, yeah.
And he basically said, you know, I could not fit in their little box in so many words.
Yeah.
And that's where he's going to butt heads with some of these directors. And I'm hoping, and this is just me hoping, that Feige is coming around and realizing where he fucked up. And he will go, okay, I'm going to listen to these guys now, because these guys know what they're talking about. The Russos delivered you two of the biggest films of all freaking time, and you turn them away from you. Like, they have gone to the point where they've said in so many words, they're never going to work for Marvel again because of the crap they had to deal with. And I'm sure this is going to start happening with a lot of other directors where they're just like, I don't want to work for you. It's the same thing with Star Wars. We hear the same thing there. Why would I want to go in and develop a Star Wars project that's never going to happen? How many times have we heard that, Nick?
No, tons of times. And I think Favreau's more than likely probably on his way out.
Oh,
yeah. I think it's patently obvious now.
Yeah.
No, it's patently obvious, especially where they essentially symbolically murdered his character in The Mandalorian anyway. So he's just like, yeah,
I think that Andre is right. I think that was his I tried moment.
Yeah.
That was his saying, I tried, because he got killed by those same guards that are guarding Palpatine, wasn't he?
Yeah. The Praetorian
I think
guard.
there's some symbolism in there.
And then you had the little Babu Frick character saying, like I'm out, motherfucker. You know,
Yeah, people are saying that's what he's saying. I don't know. I heard it and I'm like, oh, it does sound like that's what he's saying. I mean, I don't know.
It's like
It's kind of like the whole
Favreau put
Donald
that in
Duck and
there?
Who Framed Roger Rabbit. It's hard to argue.
Yeah.
Once you hear it, you can't unhear it.
Would you be surprised if he just quietly wasn't there for anything else?
Well, he's not directing the final movie. That's the other
Nope.
thing.
Yeah,
we gave that
involvement.
baloney fake Oni dude.
I think he'll be on board as listed as a producer. He will probably contribute and I'm doing quotes right now in writing, because I don't even think he's really contributing all that much to the writing of this season. He's on there, but I think he's writing it about like he did Boba Fett, where he just wrote down some ideas and threw them at Robert Rodriguez and said, "Here you go."
Yeah, here's an outline. Fill in the blanks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Here, figure out these 19 minutes I didn't write.
Yeah.
Well, again, not to get too off topic from the the Marvel stuff, but no. I mean, it's perfect. That is it's easy to segue off because that's a Disney Marvel issue, and you are losing good directors, and they have done consistently. And how many big time, well respected, legendary directors have since come out and criticized superhero movies as well as Marvel in general?
Yeah.
So many of them. So I can't see this plan from Kevin Feige. I mean, it's desperation in my head. That's all it screams to me. When you've got people like Sharmina Obaid-Chinoy as your rising star, like an activist dickhead. Those are the people that you want to direct your films. I'd be embarrassed. I'd be ashamed of the company I work for if that is literally scraping the bottom of the barrel. These people have done nothing. They're activists for a living.
Right,
so
documentarian,
so it's not going to go well. This is not going to work. It's desperation, and it won't change anything anyway.
Yeah, this is like taking a car into the shop for engine problems, and you're saying, I need to get the tires changed. It's just not going to work. But it almost seems like Marvel got so big and so popular that basically they're like, man, we can just do whatever we want to now. Like, people are going to come watch.
Yeah.
I think they've learned that that's not the case, though, after the last couple movies. And that's where I say, well,
I don't know how they couldn't, but it seems like they're continuing in the same downward spiral direction.
Well, I would normally say you can't train an old dog new tricks, but what if they're the old tricks, right? Like, that's the only reason I'll give Feige the benefit of the doubt. I'm not saying he's going to change anything. I'm not saying anything's going to get better. I'm just saying the potential is there if he brings in decent directors and he doesn't handcuff them and he lets them explore this shit.
They're already handcuffed. They're saddled with these garbage characters.
Well, you have a few characters that aren't garbage culture. You've got the Fantastic Four, you got the X-Men, you've got some other stuff.
Oh, no. Calm down. No, they're not going to be the X-Men. They're going to be the X-them. You're not going to get a traditional version of the Fantastic Four, Marvel's first family. You are going to be saddled with you're going to be saddled with
the potential's there.
You're going to be saddled with the equivalent of all new, all different A-Force bullshit. It's going to be all feminists all the time. Sorry, it's the way it is. It's not going to get better. They are incapable of it. They're tripling, quadrupling down, quintupling down on this narrative crap that the audience is continually rejecting, and they are having such staggering diminishing returns for each of these films. And the only reason that you ended up with Mom actually doing okay, although still not $1 billion, was because it was on the heels of Spider-Man, Tom. And you've been one of those people to point out that Spider-Man No Way Home was the reason that Mom did halfway decent. So it's just
Multiverse of Madness for everyone wondering.
Sorry. Yeah.
Wasn't Victoria Alonso the one that said that the X-Men name's outdated and it needs to be changed?
Yeah.
They fired her. Maybe they're figuring it out. Who knows?
Nah, because they fired Ike Perlmutter as well.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, it's not. Like, come on. And they rehired Bob Iger.
One step forward, two steps back.
Oh no! The hiring Iger was probably bringing Iger back in was just a terrible decision. But again, it was because of the level of exposure they were going to have to a lot of political fallout. Which, guess what?
Well, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Anyway, right. Way off topic.